Okay, welcome to Smart Investing with Philippe. So this is the time for the market update. The market is closed right now, and we're going to review what has been a very good day, So let's start with the usual QQQ. Day was very good. At the beginning of the day, just opened and with a big gap up, and we were about maybe close to 4% during the day, but now we trace back to 2.23%, but still very positive for the day today. So we see that the volume is still very low, and the RSI just go to 50. But what is more important is that we are trying to go back to the high of the big jump that we had on the 10% in a day. And also what we're going to see is that we are still very far from the bottom. Actually, if you check, we are about 15% from the bottom. So it's not it's actually a very good news because the market seems to want to recover or at least to bottom. The SPY 500, you can see the day has been 1.5%, and we are, hold on, we are about 13% from the bottom, and the market has been quite good. So during the day it was much higher, more or less 2 or 3%, but actually we trace back at the closure of the market. So if you look at IWM, also up 1.45%, and the same for the QQQ SPY. The opening was very, very strong, and then during the day, the trading day, the market retraced back. But still, you can see a very significant gap up for the market today. So when you look at TLT, slightly up by 1.02%, but is a huge gap down from the day. You can see today we increased to 89, and then it retraced back to 87, which is a huge coming down from the market. The 20 years rate is decreased by 1%, the 10 years has decreased by 0.32%, and the VIX has decreased by 7%, which is a very good news. The VIX is continuing, you can see, steadily to decrease to level slightly below 30. So hopefully this trend will continue to the level of 20, 25, which will be a good news in the coming days. When you look at the Max 7 has been very, very strong also, plus 3% today, with Amazon plus 4%, Meta plus 4%, and Tesla plus 5.33%, despite the very, very bad earnings yesterday. I can't understand why Tesla is going so much up. I mean, during the day it was probably 8% up, and it's closed by 5.33% up. Sometimes I don't understand how people are evaluating Tesla, but anyway. AMD up more or less 5%, was much higher during the day, but we traced back slightly at the closure. Palantir back to the 100 level. Wow, that's really amazing. Palantir is a very good company, and you can see it's trading really, really well, and even during the high of the crash, didn't go much lower. If you invested at the low of the high of the VIX now, you are 30% up on Palantir just in maybe 1 week. SMCI also traded really well. At some point was more or less 10% up, back to 35, but now it's 7.6% up. Bitcoin 0.16% up, still continuing its upside. So it seems like the risk taking is back in the market, and we are going to see what is happening in the next few days. Euro dollar, the dollar has slightly decreased. Sorry, the dollar has slightly increased today, and the euro is losing ground, but still very elevated at 1.13. Gold also slightly retraced back. I mean, all of this is following Donald Trump saying there is no intention to fire Jerome Powell, and also Besant saying that there will be de-escalating process in the trade war, and there will be a lot of negotiation with China. They haven't really set a deadline. They haven't really set a time frame for this negotiation, but at least there is some willingness to de-escalate the trade war rhetoric and all the aggressivity toward China, which is quite a good news. And we can see the market reacted yesterday positively, and today it continues its positive reaction. So other than that, nothing really special to talk about. Yeah, mostly speaking, it's a very good day. So if you look at the Now the calendar, economic calendar. Today, I don't think there are any critical. Yes, there has been. No, tomorrow there will be very important data, but today I don't think there were very important data. Let's have a look. Wednesday, you had few Fed speakers, as usual. You had the S&P Global Composite PMI at 51.2, so again, slightly lower, but no recession. Global Manufacturing PMI 50.7, slightly higher, so no recession, and Global Services PMI 51.4, so no recession, slightly lower, but no recession. So other than that, nothing really special today. Tomorrow there will be more important data like continued jobless claim, initial jobless claim, and some real estate data or existing home sales data, but more or less the most important is more the job data and the what is the job market doing. If you go now to the headline, you can see the headline, very positive S&P high first 2-day gains since early April, which is a good sign. I mean, after all the bloodbath we've seen in the market, it's quite good that we see some green in our screen. There's also Besant say no unilateral US offer to cut tariff on China. You can see also that on the big headlines of Bloomberg, S&P 500 see first 2-day gains since early April. Trump U-turns on Powell, China follow dire economic warnings. Retail traders see a peak buying opportunity in S&P 500 wide swing. And then all the talk about the treasury fall and so on and so on. So basically, nothing really much. What is interesting is Lagarde has made an interview with Bloomberg, and she actually thinks that tariff is more disinflationary than inflationary, which is quite the opposite as what Jerome Powell was talking about. Jerome Powell was saying that tariff will be inflationary, and Lagarde said tariff will be disinflationary. So Lagarde says Powell is doing what he needed to serve US people, but not especially the European people, and an ECB rate may have to fall below neutral on trades, Muller say. So it seems like the European Central Bank is definitely going on the downside for the rates, but the US is not at all ready to decrease rate on the US side. So let's see. And normally when you have this type of situation, when you see interest rate on European side going down and the US dollar rate still keeping really high, normally you should see a depreciation of the dollar compared to the US dollar. The depreciation of the euro compared to the US dollar. I mean, it's the interest rate differential strategies. If you have higher interest rate in the US, then the US dollar should appreciate. And we have seen exactly the opposite, and it's very counterintuitive what is happening in the market. And when I actually watched the interview with Christine Lagarde, and she was exactly saying the same thing. She said that usually when rate goes down on the euro, then the euro should also retreat and not appreciate. But I think it's all down to the talk with Jerome Powell and trade tariff and all this talk about whether US dollar is safe haven or no, and not anymore a safe haven. But the market doesn't seem to work as it should be, at least on the currency exchange rate market. Other than that, then it's a very, very good day. So on the recent earning highlights, the most important obviously is Tesla. Tesla, as you know, yesterday reported the revenue of Q1 with 19.34 billion dollar, a 9% decline year over year, with earning per share at 0.12, down 71%. Can you believe it went down by 71%, but still the stock go up by 8%? Just make it make sense, I don't understand how it's possible, Anyway, automotive revenue fell 20%, leading the company to step back from its 2025 return to growth forecast. CEO Elon Musk addressed investor concern by committing more times to Tesla and scaling back involvement in other ventures. Despite the weak fundamental, Tesla stock rose after the earnings calls, buoyed by Musk's renewed focus and plan for automotive vehicles. So basically the revenue and the earnings and everything about Tesla fundamental is deteriorating, but still the stock go up. So make it make sense. I know that Elon Musk said that he's going to step back from the Doge and going to refocus more on Tesla. I know Tesla has a lot of new initiative with robotaxi and cheaper electric vehicles and so on, and that's probably why people are getting excited with the Tesla stock again, because now the Elon Musk is going to refocus on the company, but still the fundamentals are deteriorating. The company is not growing. You have a collapse into earning per shares. I mean, 71% collapse in earning per shares is nothing really to celebrate. I don't understand what is happening. Anyway, UnitedHealth Group has also had the earnings reduce its 2025 earning forecast after experiencing an unexpected spike in care usage among Medicare's Advantage enrollees during Q1, leading its worst single-day drop in 25 years. The company adjusted its 2025 earning projection to $26.5 per share, down from its previous $29.5 to $30 per share estimate. So the upcoming earning reports tomorrow and Friday. Tomorrow we have very, very important earnings like Alphabet, Google, Intel Corporation, AbbVie, Aon, and GE Genova. SLB on April 25, we have Coca-Cola, General Motors, Kraft, PayPal, Pfizer, Spotify, Booking. I mean, a lot of very important earnings going to happen on April 25. You get also Meta, Microsoft, Qualcomm. I mean, it's a very, very busy day for the market this week, and it's going to probably help the market to recover from the fall that we see the last few months. Other than that, despite the recent volatility, the S&P 500 has shown resilience, with analysts predicting a year-over-year earning growth of 7.2% for Q1 2025. However, this is below the 5-year average of 8.8%. 7 of the 11 sectors are reporting year-over-year growth, led by healthcare, information technology, and utilities. Investors obviously are closely monitoring the upcoming earning reports, and especially from tech giants, to judge the market direction in the coming weeks. So basically, all will depend on the coming days' earnings, and I believe they will be more positive than the market expected, and we will see that all this fear about tariff inflation and GDP growth and employment uncertainty will vanish, or at least will diminish a lot, which will help the market to recover from what we've seen over the last 2 months. So again, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe, like, and leave a comment, and speak to you tomorrow. Have a good evening. Bye.